One shot, no edits, filmed in your car, 130,000 subscribers.
On my best month, I pulled in $10,000 in ad revenue.
Wow.
Collaborations is so important for growing a YouTube channel. Consistent to the style and the consistent to the uploads is really probably like the key for most people to get started in. There's no way that you're going to make a video that everybody's going to like. And if you are attempting to do that, you are going to fail.
So if you want to start and grow a YouTube channel and get to 100,000 subscribers faster, then you're going to want to listen to the end of this episode. Today, we're going to be learning 5 tactical tips that we wish we knew when we started on YouTube. And our guest, Simon, the uneducated economist, is at 130,000 subscribers. So as you know, you get that silver play button when you hit 100,000. But of course, there's so many lessons along the way. So what are some of the mistakes? What are the pain points? And what can we learn from Simon on his journey? We have 5 tactical tips, but Simon, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
And break down for the Think Media podcast community, when did you start and what's your channel all about?
Okay. So I started my channel in November of 2017 talking about macroeconomics. Really, I was just looking for an outlet to kind of express my ideas and didn't really have any other idea of what I was going to do with this channel other than that, kind of like my own personal journal. And so that's how I really ended up starting to build the Uneducated Economist.
Now, is it true that when I look at your channel, it seems like a lot of videos are pretty simple and filmed in your car?
That's right. Yeah. One shot, no edits. Done in my car with a cell phone. And that was pretty much the extent of all my production that I did into the channel.
Like to this day?
To this day.
One shot, no edits.
Correct.
Filmed in your car, 130,000 subscribers.
Yes.
Have you counted up the views? Do you know how many millions?
I don't know exactly how many views, but I have somewhere around 2.5 million hours of view time, which is just blowing me away.
Wow. And are you open to sharing, like, you have ad revenue that's pretty good? Like, what's the impact of the channel from that side?
The ad revenue is really, really nice for somebody who doesn't have anything going on in their life, right? So just to kind of give everybody an idea that I'm 47 years old now. At 40, I was broke, in debt, no money, no car, and drunk, like all the bad stuff, right? And I decided one day that I am not going to do that anymore. And I changed my life around by just simply giving up drinking and pursuing as much excellence as I could without trying to fall into pleasures. And so that's really was like kind of the motivation behind it in the early part of getting the channel started. But as far as like...
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to share the numbers, but how much does it earn? It really fluctuates. It's like, I don't want to like, I mean, I like saying the numbers, but the numbers aren't as good. Do you know your RPM or your CPM?
Well, put it this way. When lumber was running at its height and you have a lot of people who are coming to your channel to get lumber information and you're, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80,000, 100,000 views, it does pretty well. So on my best month, I pulled in $10,000 in ad revenue, which at the time was just like an absolute like saving point in my life because it got me out of debt, got the bills paid, it got me back moving ahead. And from that point on, it was much easier. The ad revenue nowadays has kind of fallen off a little bit. Lumber's not nearly as exciting. So now, as far as that goes, it is very, very fluctuating. So you can't really count on it for any kind of,
Yep. That's great though. And I appreciate your transparency. And I looked it up. You have 23 million views over that, which is just wild. Oh my gosh. And again, I think such a myth buster on the phone, in your car, one take. Obviously, though, knowledge that you built and as you say, it's also, you're like self-made, self-educated. Is that true? Like in
Yeah. I never took a college course. I never took any course on it. I don't have a mentor or anything like that. I literally went to the computer and started asking questions like, what's a mortgage-backed security? What's a credit default swap? What's fractional reserve banking? And I had no clue about any of this stuff. So I just sit there and read it and read it and read it. And if I found something inside the readings that I was doing that I didn't understand, I would read that until I eventually figured it all out. And it's been 15 years of pretty much every day, I would say probably 3 hours a day of research that I do to not only come up with the content for the channel, but just to be current on the information.
So you followed your curiosity, though. Clearly, you're passionate about it. So you continue to become more curious, to want to dig deeper. And then is your goal to kind of make complex things simple?
Well, originally, I think I was just trying to explain what it was that was happening within the economy just from my own understanding of it. And I had so many people saying, dude, I really love the way you break this stuff down. Keep going. And so as I was trying to find content for the channel, I just kept diving deeper into the different levels of macroeconomics and the different levels of the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. And really, it was just the pursuit of information for content that just kept driving me deeper into it.
Man, such an inspiring story. Okay. So we've got 5 tips. And tip number 1 is to simply start making videos.
That's it. Like, I don't know how many people I have told that to. They come to me and it's like, man, I would love to have a YouTube channel. I'm like, great, make your first video tonight. Let's see it. You know, and they're like, oh, I'm not ready. For what?
Yeah.
Like, you're not ready to get started? Why not? Like, get started. Like, the first video is going to suck. Like, you just know it, right? And the first and the second and the third, they're all going to be terrible, right? But the point is that once you do one video, you realize what it is that you need to do better about the next video. And that keeps going until pretty soon you have an ability to actually generate videos or make videos that people want to see because of all the crappy videos that you made before that, you know? And so literally it's just getting started and start making them and then learn from the mistakes that you make doing it. What
was your mindset when you were making your first video though? Did you have self-doubt, imposter syndrome, hesitation? How'd you overcome that?
This is a good story. You're going to like this. So I was really into macroeconomics before I started the channel, right? So I would study Fed and just, monetary policy and just kind of babble off about it at work. And, having a YouTube channel where you talk a lot is really good for a guy like me because I just love to talk, right? So I'm at work and I'm babbling on about probably taper tantrum or something. And this girl that I work with, Brittany, she's a real tall, blonde girl, rides horses, kind of like a farm girl kind of girl. And she comes and she puts her fist on my desk and she says, listen, bro, you're going to have to start a blog or a YouTube channel or something because nobody here understands anything that you're saying and you are driving us crazy. Right. And I went, oh, okay, Brittany, yeah, I hear you. So literally I grabbed my phone, which was a used iPhone 6 that I bought for $100 because I didn't have any money, right? I go down to my car, which was this busted old $600 Aurora that I was, driving at the time. And I made an introductory video to the Uneducated Economist. Like literally like, hey, I'm going to start this channel to help my friends and family out to try and figure out what's going on in the economy, and just kind of gave a brief idea of what I wanted to do with the channel. Went back into work, uploaded the video off of the work's Wi-Fi, and the Uneducated Economist was born.
Thank God for Brittany.
But thank God, every time I thank her so much, every time I see her, I'm like, Brittany, thank you so much for that day. And she's like, oh yeah, no problem.
That's so wild.
It's like to her, like no biggie.
That's such a great story though, for everybody listening, because getting in front of a camera and starting YouTube is a lot like what you would just sit across from a friend and tell them at coffee, thinking about talking to one person. It's the way you already are passionate about, what you already research. You are already passionate about macroeconomics, what you already geek out about. And maybe people at work are like, you're boring us. You're always into this. Well, you need to start and getting in front of your phone, even if it's a old busted up iPhone 6, and pressing record and to simply start making videos, open up a whole world.
Whole world. It changed everything about my life, and it took a while. Like, a lot of people, I think, I don't know, is this part of the next question or something? I think a lot of people get discouraged when they start posting videos that they don't get a lot of views right away. They put all this work and time and effort and energy into making this really good video, and then it gets like, 12 views, and they're just super bummed and discouraged about it. And that's what I probably would suggest to anybody is like to not worry about that part. Right? Not worry about the views. Like what you want to do is you want to be consistent inside of your YouTube channel, consistent with not only like the topics that you're talking about. Like you don't want to jump from macroeconomics into like sports and then into fishing or something like that. You want to stay consistent to that channel and then be consistent with the video postings. Like, it doesn't have to be every day like I do it, but being consistent seems to be like the two things that, like, consistent to the style and the consistent to the uploads is really probably like the key for most people to get started in, right? If they could just stay that way and do it for a year, like I tell people, do a video every day for a year and tell me what happens after that.
Yeah.
And I know that it'll work because I said that same thing to my wife, who I said, you could have a YouTube channel doing dishes. And she didn't believe me. And I said, well, do a video every day of the dishes. right? Call it an ASMR channel and see how many subscribers you get for it. Well, she's just shy of 500 subscribers right now.
Yeah.
Right. Literally doing her own chores.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
That's wild.
That's it. Just putting it in, vacuuming
It's
the
like
floor.
chores ASMR?
Yeah, it's like chores ASMR. Yeah.
That's
and what I found is that people actually like listen to the vacuuming videos before they go to sleep. Like they're listening for the white noise. I had another guy tell me that he is in a college dorm, misses being at home, and it sounds like mom working in the house or something like that. So literally puts it on for the background noise of having like familiar sounds from the house, you know. And it's just like, you know, I didn't like things I would not expect to have happened from it. But that's what it ends up being, you know, if you're consistent and put those videos out every day or at least consistently for a year, you're going to, it'll change. It'll change you.
So strong. I mean, we went deep. Number one, on simply start making videos. Number two, how important collaboration is.
Everything. Collaboration is everything. Really, the channel was fairly, I mean, it was growing, but it was not growing like incredibly fast, like something that was really meaningful to me. You know, I had up to, I don't know, I think I was at about 5,000 subscribers when I did a shout out video for George Gammon, and George Gammon is just huge now. But at the time, he was not very well noticed. Like I think he had 300 people on his or subscribers to his channel at the time, so he had not really even been noticed yet. And just simply giving him that shout out, and he called me up, thanked me. He says, "Dude, I would love for you to come on my channel to do an interview." And after that, it was like literally, it just opened up the floodgates. It was just like all of a sudden, all these people are wanting to do interviews and talk and inviting me and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Now, I had done a couple of interviews prior to that, which I think really got me into a position in which that I could do the interviews. Like, before that, I was very nervous. Like I remember the very first interview I did, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 900 subscribers and this guy has like 3,000 subscribers. And oh man, he's so big and I'm so small. And you know, and this is the way I felt about it. And then I did the interview, felt great. It was like, man, I really enjoy this collaboration. Other people wanted to join in on it. And now that original guy, I go back and I thank him every once in a while. And he was just like, dude, it was all you. And I'm like, no, bro, it was that invite, that very first one that changed everything for me. So collaborations is so important for growing a YouTube channel. I mean, just from the networking contacts that you can get, but then also like the share of viewers, right? So you go on somebody else's channel, all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of viewers that had never seen you before that come over to your channel and subscribe. So
do you have any practical tips for the person that's like, what would like step 1, 2, 3 be to reach out for a collaboration or to try to initiate that?
I'm not exactly sure because it kind of came to me.
It came to you after what level of success?
Well, I had just shy of 1,000 subscribers. I was getting noticed on YouTube from like a lot of different people out there who were like not only in like the banking industry, but also within the other like lumber industry, supply chains. And they were like, dude, I'm like really impressed with the stuff that you have going on here. And this is like, you know, talking it up.
How did they message you?
Most of them messaged me through email.
The email that you attach to your YouTube channel.
Through attached to the YouTube channel.
Which is a practical tip. Like make sure people can contact you. Like make sure that email is going to an inbox because you never know what opportunities, but you don't want there to be friction for people to be able to get in touch.
As far as the other way, like I guess once I really started reaching out to get collaborations, I had already kind of established myself or established the YouTube channel. But at that point, it was just literally like sending out emails to people, you know, as many as I could, and not everybody would respond. Sometimes I'd have to send out 2 or 3 emails before I would get a response on it, you know, which is kind of discouraging, but then I would get the interviews. So like I got some pretty high level names to
as a guest on your channel.
As a guest.
How'd you record those?
Again, like I only use my phone, right? So this is the only part that I actually partnered up with somebody else on. My friend who is actually living over on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast, she would set up a Zoom meeting. We would both join the Zoom meeting. She would pull herself out and record it from her end, and then she would upload the video to the YouTube channel.
Gotcha.
So I could still just use my phone and just be part of the meeting like I always do.
Gotcha. So that is already low tech.
Yeah.
But you stayed so true to being low tech that you had a friend set up the Zoom meeting for you both to join, and then which everybody listening to this, if that sounds intimidating, you've got a friend. There's somebody who could also do that for you. Hit the record, and then you gave her the login.
Yeah, she set up the whole meeting and everything.
I mean, did you give her the login to upload the video to your channel? Or did
she's so I do have like a bit of an assistant. So she has access to my channel. Like she can't delete the channel, but she can, you know, she can edit things and she can do
levels.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, great tip. Okay, number 3. Too hard to try to make videos that people would want to, videos you would want to see. So making videos for views or the audience versus views you're passionate about.
Correct.
What do you mean here?
Okay. So this is probably one of the hardest things that I actually had to internalize for myself is that there's no way that you're going to make a video that everybody's going to like. And if you are attempting to do that, you are going to fail, right? Because what you're trying to do is hit your audience. Not everybody's going to like you. There are going to be people who do. So make videos that you would want to see, not videos you think people would want to see, but videos that you yourself would actually want to see, because that's the people who are relating to you. And that's the information they want to hear. They don't want to hear something about what you like. They don't want to hear you making up something that they think they want to hear. They want to hear what you have to say, whether they agree with it or not. Like, they want the authenticity of it. And that's really where it comes in if you're doing videos that you want to see as opposed to videos that somebody else wants to see.
What's an example of this in your niche of economics? Like, what would be trending and popular, but you wouldn't do it? But what you did do, it resonated because you were passionate about it.
So, and I'll talk a little bit about this when I go up on stage, but ultimately, when I started doing the research to the Federal Reserve and what was happening with inflation, what was happening with the money printing and stuff, I started diving really deep. And my biggest question that I had when this was taking place is like, how come quantitative easing 1, 2, 3, and 4 failed to produce the inflation scenario that the Fed was looking for at the time? So for 10 years, they failed to produce inflation, even though they had quadrupled their balance sheet. So everybody wants to say that money printing goes burr and prices go up, but yet that didn't happen 10 years ago. Why? Right. And so this is one of the reasons why I ended up diving really deep into a lot of this stuff, is that I find that, like, a lot of people don't really follow what it is that the information is trying to say, but they're following what other people are saying about the information. And so for me, I kind of lost track of the question of it, but
yeah, something you want to, like, you would cover a trending topic, but that's not you. But what you do talk about is what it really is you.
Right. So, yeah. So for example, with this inflation, like, I could have easily made a video that would get 100,000 views by talking about how inflation was going to crash the economy with hyperinflation and put all this fear mongering tactics together. And because I know how to do it. Like, I mean, I know the words, the trigger words, I know what it would take in order to get that. And it would be very profitable to me to do that. Like, I could make a lot of money on YouTube, but that's not the authenticity that I'm trying to bring to the channel that's going to be lasting, right? So you put out information like that, that's inaccurate. Or at least to me, it was inaccurate. Because
you know that that's the narrative, and you could jump on the narrative, and you could jump on people's fear.
That's right.
You could make short-term money, but also that'd be short-term thinking.
All right. And now here the circumstances have changed. Now you got to change your tune to why it is that it didn't come out the way it wanted it, right? Or the way that you suggested. You put out to all these people that there's going to be hyperinflation, you're going to lose and crash and die, and then it doesn't take place. Now you got to come up with reasons why it didn't happen. Right?
Would you like a free copy of the #1 best-selling book for growing a successful YouTube channel? If you want to get a copy of the new and expanded second edition of YouTube Secrets, just go to ytsecrets.com. And if you'll cover shipping and handling, I would love to send you this book for free. And the cool thing is, when you place your order, you're also going to get access to some bonus resources like our 1,000 subscribers club, our 7 C's framework, our perfect video recipe framework, as well as some bonus videos that will help you get results on YouTube faster. So to get your copy, just go to ytsecrets.com or click the link in the podcast show notes.
If you stay consistent from the very beginning, then you don't have to change your tune about anything.
Well, and it would seem, I mean, your authenticity is everything to you, meaning you're very style. And I think the reason you've resonated with people is because you're real, raw, honest yourself, doing the research. And so, man, I mean, in any industry or even life, making short-sighted decisions is always unwise. Yes. But it's so tempting in YouTube. So that's a really deep tip to think about staying in your lane, staying authentic to you, not just chasing trends. I'm sure you leverage trends because you talk about trending things, but not doing it in such a way that you lose your authenticity or your core beliefs and values.
Like, the channel got popular because of lumber. Right? I'm in the lumber industry. I sell lumber. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I know lumber mills, truck drivers, loggers. There's no corner of the lumber market that I don't know, right? And so for me, it was really easy to talk about lumber. And when lumber starts getting a lot of attention, it's running up to $1,700 per thousand, and people are going, what in the world is going on here? How come lumber prices are so expensive? They came to my channel looking for that information. So for me, it was really easy within the lumber industry because I was one of the few people who had that much information about it and talking about it a year before it actually took place. Staying consistent in that, right? So many people wanted to, like, what are the reasons? Why is this happening? Who's the greedy one? All this other stuff. And all this narrative came out there. And I'm like, none of this is accurate. Like, nobody has this right. And even on the mainstream media, when I'm listening to these so-called experts talk about it, I'm like, are they just literally making this stuff up? And that's the way I felt about it. And then I realized most of mainstream media is that way. Like, even as I started researching into the Federal Reserve, right now, I'm finding things coming out of the Federal Reserve in their own statements of their monetary policy that seems to be completely different from what 99% of the people out there are saying. And again, it's just like, it feels to me very much like that lumber industry and pundits out there talking about something they really don't know anything about. And this is blowing me away right now. Like, this is like, how did I even get to a channel or a level on this channel that I could be this way? Like, you know, that everybody's got it wrong and I'm the only one who's got it right.
Well,
like, that is really hard for me to, like, actually feel confident in saying that, but it's the way it is.
You're the rise of renegade independent journalism that YouTube is giving us the opportunity for right now.
Absolutely.
Mainstream media is in trouble because the facade will only last for so long. And justice warriors, truth tellers, people that just want the actual facts and truth and don't want to just be a talking head saying whatever their corporate sponsor is paying them to say or whatever it is. Even if you're just doing it in your car and your phone, this is what people are hungering for. They want that real, that authentic, that vulnerability.
Yeah. This is what, like, anybody who's watching this, like, you got to understand, like, once you have an audience, you know what it is that you could do to make more money off of that. Like, you know, you could trigger them. You could put the fear, you could put all that other stuff out there. I'm not going to do that to my fans. I'm not going to do it to my viewers. It's not what I built this channel for. It was so that I could learn and understand what's going on with the economy. And I want that to be reflected inside of the videos and everybody else being able to take what from this video and benefit their life with it. That's what I'm trying to do. Like, the money will come. Like, I'm not worried about it. It's just like,
when we're here at Michael Zuber's event, One Rent all the time, Michael Zuber talks about the crash bros all the time. And he talks about, I mean, I think he even calls up people by name, not trying to get into it, but he talks about Reventure Consulting. Shout out. But that he's always just, it's just crash. It's just constant drama, fear, because that works. It gets clicks. But this is such a deep point in this podcast to be thinking about. And that's why I love Michael and the community as around them, is people like yourself who are being just thoughtful about that and are not trying to just chase short-term money or sell out their audience or manipulate your audience. And again, I think it's a fine line, meaning a video still might be perceived as clickbait, but if it's like, if you back up that statement and what's happening, and if you say the word crash and you back up that it is a crash, then it could all be done ethically. But I think you have to be thoughtful. It kind of leads us to point number 4, which consistency is the key, both in style and content, along with posting timely videos. So timely can sometimes be you're jumping on a trend, but break this down: consistency, style, content, and timeliness. Yeah.
And we kind of covered that a little bit earlier, but it really is like staying consistent to the channel. Like, if I was to all of a sudden switch, like, I do my videos in my car, right? I have this old busted down car or whatever. If I all of a sudden switch and start doing videos from an office with, like, all kinds of stuff, I would lose a huge chunk of my viewers because that's not what they were expecting from me. They like me in the car. In fact, when I made a suggestion that I get an office, they told me, if you get an office, we won't be here. Like, we want you in the car, right? So that's the consistency that they want, right? They want to see, you know, somebody who is like what they were yesterday, you know, like not changing or flipping around or doing all kinds of stuff. And I think, like, if you start in an office, just stay in the office, or at least, you know,
if I can interrupt you, I want you to keep going. But like, one of the mistakes I have seen is, as people have gotten like more success on YouTube or more money starts coming in, they lose touch with their audience and they start to create a gap with their audience. To your point, it's not that you can't upgrade or have a new set, but why? Like, why do you need that? And that staying grounded and staying relatable. It's also, you don't necessarily need to architect relatability, but I've been thoughtful about that on the journey. And I've seen some people in a way tank their careers because they got out of touch. Right. And that's, I think, the key. I think the key is they got out of touch, no matter what it looked like. they just, whether it's the money, the success, the momentum, it starts going to their head in a way that it's true if that's happening, but it went to their head in a way that it affected them, that there became this widening gap. And we say that the creator who understands the viewer best wins. I think if you have the most empathy for the viewer, the understanding, and you're fighting for the viewer, I hope I'm fighting for the viewer on the Think Media podcast. So if you say something that's confusing, I'm thinking about them, that I want to then maybe go deeper and contextualize that, whatever, and be thoughtful about knowing that many people are watching this just starting, not a lot of money, like feeling discouraged about the views, all the way to millionaires that are trying to scale. So sometimes trying to pull your tips and contextualize it. Anyways, losing touch with the viewer can be such a big thing. And I didn't mean to rabbit trail off that, but you're talking about stay in the car, stay consistent in the style.
Yep. Stay consistent in the style of what it is. That's what built the audience. That's what they want to see. That's what they want to be. And if you're changing, then you're changing. Yeah. Right? You know, and so
you don't think you could go inside with a fancy studio and lighting and cameras?
I could. Yeah, I could.
But you stay in the car.
So
you're going to get a new car?
That's kind of funny. I have 3 cars. Right?
But do you stay in the one car?
I have a 99 Toyota Corolla, a 2001 S10, and a 99 Ford Explorer. And not a single one of them is worth more than $1,500. So I mean, I keep my stuff pretty low. Right? Yeah. Things like new cars isn't really, like, material possessions really aren't exciting for me.
Sure.
And so, like, I love to drive a new Camaro someday. Like, that's kind of like my dream. I'll own one. But like, my ideas of like trying to go for the Camaro, it's very low.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have other things that would be much more.
So you think though you could do the studio? Because we've gotten deep on this. Like, don't leave the car, but why not do a studio?
I think I think at this point that I could actually split my channel into 2 different styles. I could do from the car to do my normal relatable, videos that I do, 15, 18 minutes, however long they are. And then do stuff like in the collaboration form, interviews, or maybe some deeper discussions where I actually do edits and stuff like that. I think the channel could take a bit of a change in that fashion. And if I did, that would be the direction it would go. But as far as now, it's all in the car.
Yeah, I love that.
So I think I could step it out of there a little ways, but.
And I don't want to make the point that it would be bad, because I think your audience also comes with you. They see you start at one level, and then again, maybe you're set, or your background changes and all of that. It's fine. It could be improvements, but you don't want to lose touch. Right. We've seen it with some certain vlogging families and stuff too, like all of a sudden, and I think it's on blast at most with quote unquote celebrities that become out of touch with the struggle of, real people. And like, your tagline is bringing insight from a working class point of view.
That's right.
So you want to keep the point of view and who you're talking to fiercely clear. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, like, I'm not really highly motivated to leave my day job. Like, I like my job. I don't like having to show up there every single day and be under the scrutiny of a boss. That part sucks, right? But I have a pretty good position. My boss doesn't really give me a hard time, and I enjoy what I'm doing, and it pays the bills. So it's like a freedom aspect to me, even though a lot of people say that it's not freedom if you're working for somebody else. But to me, it's just like, man, I got all kinds of, I can be very nimble in things that I do.
Yeah. And
it's kind of funny when you don't actually need the job. Like, I kind of need it, but I don't.
Yeah.
It makes the job a lot easier. Like, if you're choosing to be there as opposed to having to be there. Yeah. And so staying at that 9-to-5 job and, being there, working, knowing the struggles that everybody else has, along with it, I know that it's been a benefit for the channel. Like, I would have lost touch with a lot of that if I wasn't doing that anymore.
That's a powerful insight, not only because it's keeping you, if you will, grounded or connected to the audience, but I also love that insight because I want to go deeper with Michael Zuber about this. I think that the W-2 job is underrated, and I'm kind of stealing his talking points, but he has brought there's been an overemphasis on entrepreneurship in what's going viral on YouTube. It's like, you're either an entrepreneur or you're nothing. But Andy Frisella and Ed Milet had a conversation about, there was like a study, only 6% of people are even entrepreneurs. Like, in the way that they're wired, meaning too, the wiring it takes to be the number one person. If we take entrepreneurship, of course you could say a solopreneur, but if we take it to the level where you have to deal with all the crap, like the structures and the team and the payroll and the setup and all the issues. And yet entrepreneurship's been over glorified, and it's like that's the only path. So even hearing you being in Michael Zuber's community as we're here in this event in Vegas, and this idea where, man, even the W-2 job is kind of like a superpower as well. You don't even really need it, and yet you're even better connected there. You have this outlet over here. And that's also maximally relatable to everybody listening to this as well. I think sometimes there's, not that it's a guilt or shame, but it's just if someone thinks like, man, if I got a W-2 job. And I think about even Think Media. I consider our team, we're all full-time YouTubers. There's 30 of us. We have W-2 employees. So it's not like we're all entrepreneurs. My wife and I have to carry the pressure as the co-founders of the business. And that's a different level of pressure. But we have time freedom and we can do what we want. But I'm still in it. Running a business is hard. I don't have any kind of 4-hour work week. It's a mission. I got payroll and a team to run. And that's also by choice for however God wired me, to be able to do what we're doing. Saying that, I consider our whole team, we're trying to build work-life balance. They've got side projects. So anyways, that kind of just got me inspired, is just this idea that I think we need to reframe how incredible a W-2 position is.
Oh, yeah.
How the security there, but then that we're living in a world where people could do what you're doing. Yeah. The side hustle, the creator economy, the extra streams of income.
Yep.
And that it could be at a place where you could have a $10,000 a month on the side. Yeah. Shoot.
Right.
That's a pretty good side.
Right.
Pretty good extra month, and then still enjoy and not maybe love everything about it, but still enjoy your W-2 job.
Most of the time I found that when it comes to like that W-2 job, that 9-to-5 job, most people don't like it because they have to be there.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have anything else going on in their life. And that's what's very discouraging. And then they find like all the reasons why they don't like it. If you don't have that feeling like I have to be here, it makes it so much easier. It makes everything easier, just being in life in general. So like, I don't knock the W-2. In fact, if I didn't have this job, I'd probably go find another one somewhere just because, that's kind of what I do. I don't know. It's like, I use my job to get information to make videos from. So to me, it's like, it's all part of the YouTube process.
I would say finally too, I know we've going deep on all this, but there's one of the reasons why I want to stay in it is because I understand the creator who understands the viewer best wins. Meaning this, if I'm going to teach YouTube or share tips, or now it's expanded, if I talk about entrepreneurship, business, and leadership, I don't want to be talking out of experience from last year or 5 years ago. Too many college professors are doing just that. Maybe they've never built a business in the first place, or they did once, but they're so disconnected. It is priceless what you said. Being at your day job makes you that much stronger as the incredible personal brand, the uneducated economist. Yeah. Man, it's just like being in it, like still being in the weeds, being in the hustle can be painful. It's not always awesome. But when you're in it, that's where the life stories and the lessons and the experience and the conversations, you got to be in it. Mm-hmm. And looking for freedom from it to do what? Sit at, drink a pina colada on the beach. How many pina coladas can you drink, mm-hmm. on the beach? Just this idea of people. And when you do what you love, like you're not looking for a job you can escape from or you have to escape from. Like hopefully if you're, anyways. Yeah. Really fun. Number 5. Yeah. Number 5 out of these 5 tips when starting YouTube, anything can be potential content.
That's right.
What do you mean?
Anything can be potential content. Like literally anything can be content. I have been absolutely amazed by some of the videos that I have seen come up on YouTube that people are interested in watching. Well, I don't have any interest in it. But
do you mean like kind of like your wife's channel where she's doing ASMR around house cleaning?
Yeah. And that was the proof to me. Like when my channel took off and I was sitting at 100,000 subscribers and I was just blown away, and everybody, like my whole family, none of us thought that this was going to take place like ever. Right. But here it is, and I'm thinking about what happened to get the channel to the level that it was at, and I'm like, I think you could do a channel on anything as long as you're consistent to it. If you post a video every day on the same type of content, you will find an audience out there because there's 6 billion people, and you only need a few of them. Right? You don't need that many. And so even though it doesn't seem like something you'd be interested in, there's 6 billion people, who have access to YouTube. So they'll like it. There's somebody out there who likes your videos.
That is a massive light bulb moment. There's so many people on planet Earth. And to do a Fed adjustment of the rates and the numbers, I think it's 2.7 billion monthly active users on YouTube. So it's a third of the world's population.
Right.
And that is the majority of people who have access to the internet. And those numbers continue to grow. So that's still an outrageous number. Mm-hmm. And to think about a number of that size, and in one of our conversations previously, we're talking about 1,000 true fans. It's like you're looking for just that core group out of this massive people who are geeks and weird and into stuff just like I am, or just like you are, weird niche stuff. YouTube just created this awesome playing field where we could take these things we're passionate about and start building an audience around them.
If you really want a channel to be really successful, at least in my opinion on this, it's not just a matter of putting out content, because you can put out content all day long. You might get 500 subscribers or whatever, but it's not going to be something that's really substantial in your life until you actually do something that is going to be a benefit to people. Like if you got to bring some sort of usefulness or some sort of value to those videos, something that they can take from that. And entertainment value can be one. Like if you're just funny and entertaining or whatever, that can be, somewhat valuable for somebody to be entertained by it. But if you could put something out there that is going to be very valuable in their life, something that they can take away from it and use it in their life, that's really where you're going to start getting a lot more attention. Being useful, having information that is helpful and useful, as opposed to opinionated and, aggressive, or I don't know how, I think about the things that I did that didn't do well for my channel. And that's usually what it is when I got very opinionated or aggressive with the videos. But when I was very cool and collected and putting good information out there that I think people would want, like that I would want to see, it does so much better. So just be useful.
Man, this conversation is packed with gems. I think I said, let's talk for 15 minutes, and here we are. And so as we land the plane, I want to hear a roll call of where people can follow you and connect with you. But I'm curious, where are you at in the Pacific Northwest? We're actually, I was born in Seattle, and now we're more in Snohomish, more in Marysville now, around family, because we've got a 1-year-old and 3-year-old. But I'm familiar with the trees.
I'm in the corner of Oregon, Astoria.
Yeah, gotcha.
Astoria, Oregon, home of the Goonies, a lot of movies made there. And it's a beautiful town. I've been there since, my dad retired out of the Coast Guard when I was 12. So, 35 years later.
And you're familiar with the rain then, though, but you've...
but it's beautiful. We all have our web toes and stuff.
That's right. That's true. Well, okay, if people want to follow you, Simon, the uneducated economist, will link it up. Anything else you want to shout out that you're doing?
Right now, I'm pretty much active on YouTube. I do have like Instagram and, Twitter and stuff like that, but I'm not nearly as active on those as my time is limited. I'm very active on YouTube. And if you are looking to gain some information on this, you can go back and you can watch all the videos that I do. But recently, I have started a membership portion to my channel that I am
through YouTube channel memberships.
Through the YouTube, straight through YouTube. And it's a very cheap membership. It's only $1. But what I wanted to do was to separate, not necessarily like discourage some of my viewers, but to bring a little bit closer connection to the people who are more serious about this particular topic. And when we do the live streams, we break down some like very deep discussions on Fed speeches, on their monetary policies. We break them down deeply. And sometimes these live streams can go 2 hours. The people in the comment section are incredibly knowledgeable. So the questions that get asked, not only do they get my opinion, but they get the opinions of, quite a few other people who are, very serious about this topic. And to me, trying to bring that community together has been one of the coolest, most inspirational things that I've done in a long time. It's driving me to do better at these videos, to bring the information in. And I find that the community is strong too, who wants to come together and learn this stuff. So,
wow.
Yeah, to me, this has been very inspirational.
Well, and I think that's number one, a valuable resource for anybody who's interested in that, but also just a bonus tip around YouTube channel memberships. and that segment of your audience that maybe wants that deeper dive, that deeper convo, that deeper, and even making it accessible. Just even that little bit of a paywall.
That's right.
Also raises kind of the quality of the conversation.
That's exactly right. You know, I didn't like, I mean, I would love to make a lot of money, right? You know, everybody does, but I'm not really like, the money comes, the money flows to you if you don't chase it too much, right? You know, you just kind of have to be in the position in which that it can be coming towards you, you know, like, just like anything out there, everything has an energy. You have an energy, money has an energy, everybody has energy, right? And if you take the energy of chasing, then whatever it is that you are chasing is going to run. And you can find this energy simply by playing with a dog, right? Chase the dog. What does the dog do? Right? Dog runs. Run from the dog. Guess what happens? Dog chases you, right? Leave the dog alone. What happens, right? The dog, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Right? So now here, if you understand that type of energy, chasing it will make it run, and it makes it very difficult to find. But allowing it to actually flow back towards you in a way, that's the way that is so much easier. It flows easier. It's just, you know, it's universally natural.
Simon, the uneducated economist, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Think Media Podcast. Like, rate, and review, and share this episode. And of course, check out show notes where you can check out Simon's channel, as well as some of the cool things that we have going on right now at Think Media. And if you listen on audio, we are asking you, hit the star rating on Spotify or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Of course, always read your comments on the YouTube version. And my name is Sean Cannell, your guide to a profitable YouTube channel. Look forward to connecting with you in a future episode.